Lace 'em up, let's start the show. We're digging in with Trip. 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 We're digging in with Trip today, yeah.
Well, you don't see any shovels right now for those of you watching on YouTube. And I can tell you this, my Hurricanes shovel for the May Player of the Month is in transit. And shortly it will be arriving at the doorstep of none other than Jaccob Slavin. This guy, who are we kidding? He earns it every month. And a lot of times just slides right on underneath the radar. Because all of the superstar-like things that he does defensively are not the headliners, they're not the stargazing elements. He just does it in a way that he's as valuable, hands down, of a player on the Hurricanes roster as there is. And because of that, that shovel is scurrying right over to Slaves. When I talk to him in a second, I'll get to the specifics as to why I'm so proud to award the shovel to him as we conclude the regular season. And then we will be awarding shovels, and I'm hoping I award 4 Hurricane shovels in the playoffs, because I will award one after each playoff round. We were able to do so thanks to our Canes Player of the Month sponsor, the great people at Casual Elegance Designs. CasualEleganceDesignsNC.com. Creating spaces that speak to you. And a great Caniac. She is a diehard Caniac. Lori Moscato, who runs Casual Elegance Designs, I think her biggest strength is she can see in the construction phase of a house how the space will speak to that specific home buyer and how it's unique to them. She digs in. Lori Moscato, Casual Elegance Designs, NC.com. Without further ado, let's award the shovel to Canes' alternate captain, and we hope Lady Bing award winner, Jaccob Slavin. Before we get to the playoffs, my May dig-in Player of the Month for the Hurricanes, it's a no-brainer for me. This guy, huge part of not just statistically an elite kill, since April 20th, just to put it in perspective, they've killed 30 of 32. All right, that's just a shade. That's like 93.75%. He's plus 11 during that stretch. I point to that stretch, even though we're just talking about awarding the shovel in May, because of the fact that this is what allowed Carolina to clinch the division. It is none other than Jaccob Slavin. Jacob, you have earned this shovel. Quite honestly, you earn it every month, but I'm very proud to award it to you. How does it feel, my brother?
It's an honor to earn the digging in shovel of the month. It's awesome. Like you said, the penalty kill has been hot. We had that game in Florida, 9 penalties, and they scored the only one was a 5-on-3 goal. So it was a huge penalty kill night for us, and came up with a huge win there. And so it's been fun. It has been fun, and hopefully we can continue with that penalty kill success going into the playoffs.
There's one other 5-on-3. It was at home against Columbus on a Saturday night, and you had gas in the tank. You used the back of the net right at the end of it. When you have juice, you played essentially 2 minutes of a 5-on-3, or just short of that. Is that all the work you do with Billy Berniston in the offset? What leads to you having juice, Slaves, when it seems like nobody else does?
There's could be a couple things you can contribute to that. Obviously the work you put in with Billy during the summertime is huge, and that sets the tone for everywhere else in the game and on like any other situation throughout a game. But honestly, on that specifically, that 5-on-3, I didn't move more than 5 feet within my own little circle there. I didn't have any shots try to come through me or anything. So I was just kind of standing there for the most part, going up and down a little bit. So didn't have to move too much. So I think that has a lot to do with it on that specific kill. But yeah, no, it's nice to be able to have their endurance to even have the chance at being able to skate the puck out on a kill like that.
I have never thought it's part of my job description to ask, because I report when players are good to go. All I will ask you is, with the playoffs coming, whatever you're dealing with, how do you feel?
I'm resting right now. I'm resting, trying to make sure that I'm going to be good to go once the playoffs start. So we'll see how I feel when I get back on the ice. But right now, I'm just trying to recover the best that I can and just make sure the body's healthy and ready to go.
Slaves, I was just thinking about this. Your beautiful daughter Emerson, smile that could stop time. It's 2 years ago. She just celebrated her birthday. You didn't have home ice. You're going back and forth at the start of the series. In the postseason, your first time in playoff hockey. And you won that series against the defending Stanley Cup champions. Happy birthday to the great Emerson, the great Kaniak. How did you do that?
That was those are the moments you look back in life and you just, honestly, for myself, you just thank God for. And it's something that you look back on, and like you said, you just smile about, and like Emerson smile can stop time. That's kind of what time felt like then. I mean, it's all a blur, but you can also remember individual moments and flying back and forth after game 1, and then waking up early the morning of game 3, but still in North Carolina. And it was a 3:00 game that day, so flying back, taking back to DC and then taking a quick nap. It's one of those moments that you just smile about, and you're happy to have experienced that. But no, I think my biggest prayer before games was that was just God give me the energy to get through this thing. But no, I also think that dad strength that people talk about was there. And just riding that high. But no, it was a special series. It was a special moment, special couple weeks, just with Emerson's first couple weeks of life. So it was a blast. I mean, I love it. Those are the moments that you live for, right? And so it was pretty sweet.
Oh, I mean, that's the highlight of the human experience. As you continue to gain unique playoff experience, I'll never forget. I think it was your first shift after Brady Shea's big hit on your then opponent, Jesper Fast, and you go shelf on Henrik Lundqvist, who had been Herculean against your team. What do you remember about that? I don't ever remember a better start. Granted, that was in a bubble, but what do you remember about that setting that tone? Because that will always stick in my mind as well.
Yeah, well, first, that Shazy hit was obviously just huge, right? And I think that set the tone for the whole series, that hit alone. And so, no, actually, Quickie was on the ice still when I had scored that goal, and Turbo was coming up the wall on the far side with the puck, and Quickie was in the middle, and we all know he was a little concussed at that point. And so his head wasn't quite on the swivel that it normally would be. And obviously, knowing the player he is now, I don't think I've seen that happen to him all year. So to be able to sneak down the backside, and Turbo being the great player that he is, just found me right on the tape. And yeah, it was a special moment. But no, it definitely helps set the tone as well. And I think it gave the team confidence. As you said, Hank had been kind of dominating us all year from a goaltending perspective. And so it was huge. And then obviously the rest of that series was physical, but the boys were rolling, and we were just playing great hockey at that point.
How would you say, as you prepare for Nashville, how would you say, because you've been excellent in both playoff runs to the conference finals and then in the bubble, how are you a better prepared mental and physical defenseman to play to your strengths now, and what would be your third postseason go around?
I think the biggest thing for me is just knowing what to expect, knowing the type of hockey that playoff atmosphere brings, just the way other teams are going to be playing, their mentality going into it, and just I think the biggest thing that changes from regular season to postseason is just the physicality of it. And you know my game, I'm not the most physical guy when it comes to that. And so just being prepared from that, from the receiving side of hits and everything, but just being also mentally just being able to get my mind in the right spot to give that sort of physicality out, knowing that it is a grind, and series can be a grind, and it might be that extra hit that finally does it in for your opponent. And so just wrapping my head around that mentally, and knowing to expect that, and knowing that I also have to give it too. That's a big way. And then I think just understanding, obviously we have one of the best coaches there is, and he's been through the grind multiple times by himself, and he's raised that cup before. So knowing what it takes to go the long way. And he's always told us, he's like, this first series is going to be just as hard as any other series that you have to go through. And so just taking it one series at a time, but preparing for this first series like it could be the last.
I want to ask a question that I posed to him in a second, but for those watching on YouTube, who is this canine caniac over your right shoulder?
She popped up. That would be Lola. And then Simba is right there. But yeah, Lola, she popped up there.
Oh, and then there was Lola. Oh, yeah.
Yes. Copacabana.
Yeah, you're a better singer than I am.
I'm not, trust me.
So Lola wanted me to ask this question. A recent game. Yep. I'm doing this for you, Lola.
Yeah, there you go.
I said to Roddy, because you're just talking about it. I said, Jaccob Slavin, act like you are a lawyer and making a closing argument. Lady Bing, he plays against the other team's best, and Rod did not know that you had just 2 penalty minutes. So, and you're such a gentleman to the nth degree, and the nth degree again off the ice, which is part of that criteria for the Lady Bing as well. But if there are any young aspiring defensemen, Lola wanted me to ask you, how do you shut down the other team's top players and find a way to stay out of the box?
The biggest thing for me, I think, is positioning, setting yourself up to be able to make plays. And I mean, like I said before, I'm not the most physical guy, so a lot of my defense comes from my stick and having a good stick, taking away passing lanes, taking away shot lanes, whatever it is, but being able to anticipate where they want to go with the puck. But in order to do that, you have to have good positioning. I mean, growing up through college, I think one of the things that the coaches that I had really tried to instill in my brain was making sure to have a good gap. But for myself, that was not necessarily new to me, but it was hard for me to learn. But once I got to pro hockey, that was definitely something that needed to change in my game. And so just over the years, making sure gap control from my side of the game is good and strong. And so, but yeah, I think for myself, position would be the biggest thing.
Good stuff. I have you, Slaves, whether it be the Lady Bing and or the Norris Trophy. I have you as a candidate each and every year, and to be able to watch you, and same proximity of time of Brett Pesce coming into the league, it is such a treat for me. That's my own commentary.
Appreciate that.
Oh, I love you. Anyways, before we go and we depart, it is a Friday, and I wasn't able to do it, but a few Fridays ago, I was going to go to a spot. Speaking of digging in from a delicious standpoint, barbecue, and they have a mission statement too. I love how you've been comfortable with me talking about how important your faith is. So let's talk about the barbecue. Let's talk about the mission statement. It's all yours, because there's a spot that everybody needs to know about it. Slaves, take it from there.
Yeah. Well, the spot, Prime Barbecue is the name. It's in Knightdale, North Carolina. So it's only 15, 20 minutes from Raleigh. But I mean, the food is top notch. Best barbecue I've ever had in my life. It's the way Chris is his name. He's the head chef there, head barbecue pitmaster, I guess is what they call it. It's a mix between, I think, now I got to get this right, because Western North Carolina is not vinegar based and Eastern North Carolina is, correct?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not positive on that. So anyway, scratch that.
Yeah.
But one of the two, whatever one's not vinegar based, it's kind of a mix between that and Texas style barbecue. And so, but yeah, Friday is beef rib Friday, best meat I've ever had. And then, I mean, everything that he does is unbelievable. My wife loves his smoked turkey that he does. Thursdays are his whole pecan smoked chickens, and some of the best chicken you'll ever have. But then from apart from the food's top notch, unbelievable. But then apart from the food, his ministry that he has there, and just what he's been doing. So he's a lot of his staff are wounded warriors that he's been able to help through the process of cooking and grilling and smoking meats and whatever. So he'll do classes with the Wounded Warrior Project and kind of use that as their rehab from just their trauma from war. And so it's been really cool to see just his involvement with that, but then also just his underlying message through all of it is just the gospel of Jesus Christ. And so if you ever go out to his place, he loves giving a tour of his restaurant, and everything in there was just so designed for a purpose, and there's a reason for everything in there. And so it's just really cool to hear his story through the tour, and then hear the purpose of his restaurant and why he did what he did. But all in the hope that he can share the love of Jesus Christ to everybody that walks in through that door. And his thing is to make sure that they walk away full with a hunger that won't come back. And so it's pretty cool. It's a really unique spot. And again, the food is unbelievable.
Okay, couple of things. Thank you for sharing that. We will, when we release the episode shortly, and your shovel is on its way. You were explaining why it is so special on so many fronts. I don't know if you noticed, Lola left stage right, probably to head out there. So if you lost Lola, we know where Lola went.
Exactly.
So
I could show it to you. No, she's dreaming about it.
Oh,
she's down there dreaming about it. Oh yeah.
Visualizing like you do with your nap before the games in the playoffs, hopefully leading to 16 wins.
Yeah.
Slaves, I love you, and good luck in the playoffs. I am so proud to award this shovel to you. You make calling games easy, and off the ice, you make my life better, infinitely so, being a dear friend. So good luck to you. Thank you for doing this, and I will talk to you very soon.
Yes, absolutely, Tripper. Thank you. Love you too, and it's an honor to be your Digging Player of the Month.
We're digging in with Trip today, yeah. Today, yeah. Today, yeah. Today.